So here's something about pirates in real history that when you hear it, you're probably going to be like, oh, no, duh. In this clip, Edward and his ship attacks two British frigates unprompted in the open sea. This is not at all historically accurate. And think about it. If you're a pirate and you are undermanned and you're just trying to steal stuff, one, you wouldn't even go after military vessels. That is crazy. It's like if you were carjacking someone and you go and carjack the police. No, you're gonna look for merchant vessels that are really slow with very few people. And a lot of people who are on these sailing ships are thinking, oh, I'm not gonna die for some other person's gold. So they'll hand over the ship pretty easily. That's just one way that this makes for fun gameplay, but it's not exactly historically accurate. Did you know that the Red Wedding from Game of Thrones is real? Only it wasn't a wedding, it was a banquet, and instead of being in fictional England, it was in the real Middle East. There was plenty of red, though. It was actually called the Banquet of Blood, and it happened when the Abbasid royal family murdered the entire Umayyad royal family in the mid-750s CE. I actually have an entire video coming out on it next week, so make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss it. Okay, I got some history for you. Check this out. So, did you know that in the Abbasid Empire, you could get the entire world declare war on you if you broke a contract? Actually, let me show you. This is a writ of safe passage between the Caliph Al-Mansur and his uncle who tried to overthrow him. They're trying to figure out and negotiate how to make peace after the war. But this right here, section 15 right here, is the key section. Let me summarize it for you too. So basically what this is saying is that if the Caliph breaks the contract and tries to pull one over on his uncle and kill him while he's coming to the capital, the entire Muslim world will automatically declare war on the Caliph and have the right to take anything that he owns and to overthrow him over one contract. Like for more. So I was going back and rereading Herodotus's The Histories, which, if you don't know, is widely considered one of the first works of history in human history. And he writes a lot about both ancient Greek history, ancient Persian history, and in this case, ancient Egyptian history. And I ran across a paragraph that I can't unread, so I'll just share it with you, so you are scarred for life just like I am. Right here in green. But when the wives of prominent men or very beautiful or noteworthy women die, they do not deliver the bodies to be embalmed at once. They give them over only on the second or third day after their death, so that the embalmers don't have intercourse with the dead woman's body, for they say that one was caught in the act of having intercourse with a woman's fresh corpse, and that this crime was disclosed by his co-worker. Like and subscribe for more. Hey, I'm inserting myself into the middle of this video to remind you to like and subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any future videos from my channel. The goal is 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2023, and we can only hit that with your help. So make sure you go down into the comments below and tell us what you would like to see from the channel in the future. Now back to the video. Yesterday, I was talking about a contract signed by Caliph Al-Mansur that if he broke it, the entire Muslim world would go to war with him. If you missed it, check out my channel page. But Al-Mansur found a way to get around this contract. Let me tell you how. So, what Al-Mansur did was he invited Abdallah, his uncle, to stay in a house that was poorly built, intentionally, so that when it fell down and killed him, it could look like an accident. But there's one problem with this explanation. Say hi to Camel. As it turns out, in the surviving copy of the text, any device or plot that is used, including the destruction of a building, would violate the contract. So, how did Al-Mansur get away with his plot? Put your theories in the comments and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the conclusion. There's a video going around talking about why the French military weren't cowards throughout world history, but I saw a short 30-second clip in it that I really have to highlight.
In 732 AD, he and his Frankish army prevented the Arabo-Umayyad dynasty advance into France, inflicting a crushing defeat on their enemies at the Battle of Tours. With this victory, the ever-rising tide of Islamic expansion into Europe was halted.
Well, it turns out that after the Abbasid Revolution, one Umayyad noble escaped all the way to Spain and refounded the Umayyad Empire. He united almost all of Spain under his empire that lasted from the mid-700s all the way until past the year 1000. And then Muslims still continued to rule over Spain until the Reconquista in 1492, same year Columbus sailed the ocean blue. The more you know. About a month ago, I was visiting family in Kenya, which, if you don't know, is right about here on the map. Here's a photo of the hotel room I stayed in while I was there. That is what they call a mosquito net. In countries where malaria is an endemic disease, you find these mosquito nets put around people's beds in order to prevent the mosquitoes from biting you in the night and giving you malaria. I assumed it was a pretty modern invention, but it turns out it has existed for a very, very long time. In this paragraph, Herodotus is talking about how fishers would hang their nets around their bed at night in order to prevent mosquitoes from getting to them and biting them. It's very easy to forget that what sets us apart as living beings is the fact that we have always been intelligent and resourceful problem solvers. Remember, people change, humans don't. Like and subscribe for more. I've been talking about the contract from the early Abbasid era that should have led the entire world to war with Caliph Al-Mansur. If you missed it, check out my channel page. Why didn't Caliph Al-Mansur face consequences for clearly violating the contract? Simply put, he just suppressed the contract. But it gets more interesting than that. Some rivals of the Abbasids likely dug up the text centuries later in order to damage the reputation of the legendary second caliph. Historians theorize that the phrase collapsing buildings was added to the surviving text in order to make it more clear that Al-Mansur broke the contract by killing his uncle. Al-Mansur definitely killed his uncle and broke the contract, but just like politicians today, he covered up the evidence in order to not face consequences, and his rivals just dug it up in order to make themselves look better by comparison. People change, politicians don't. As the rockstar students from my old world history class will tell you, rivers like the Nile were the foundation of ancient civilizations. We can see this in Herodotus's histories written over 2,500 years ago. In this paragraph, Herodotus describes how during the annual flooding of the Nile, the water was so high that people could sail past the pyramids. You heard me right. You could get on a boat and sail down the river to see the pyramids at Giza, about 9 kilometers or over 5.5 miles from the Nile River. They even have photos of this. Today, the Nile is dammed up, so you will no longer be able to see the pyramids at the height of the flood season. But this is just one example of how for thousands of years, human civilization has coexisted with nature in interesting and fascinating ways. So, a couple days ago, I released a video criticizing Black Flag for not being fully accurate when it comes to ship combat, but today I want to even the scales a little bit. What I want to highlight is how after the ship combat, what happens next is very historically accurate. Oftentimes you see in Hollywood, especially Pirates of the Caribbean, where they get into an epic, huge battle and they sink the ship and it's all over. In reality, what a pirate would do is take the ship, and what you can see here, holding the crew members hostage and then taking the loot and letting people go, either to join your own crew or to just go about their business. That was a lot more accurate to the way that pirates operated during this time period. Like and subscribe for more.